Nadhim Zahawi has just done what most politicians only hint at for months and never actually do. He's walked away from the Conservatives and joined Reform UK, standing alongside Nigel Farage and saying, in effect, "This is the team I back now." So, here's the real question. When a former Chancellor crosses the floor politically, is that a one-off headline or the start of a chain reaction that rewires British politics?
I think I've decided that I'm joining Reform.
Let's get the basics straight. Zahawi isn't a backbench nobody. He served at the top of government, most notably a brief spell as Chancellor under Boris Johnson, and he was also closely associated with the early COVID vaccine rollout as Vaccines Minister. This isn't just another ex-MP changing badges, this is a recognisable figure from the Johnson era deciding that the Conservative brand is no longer worth defending. According to The Independent, the Conservatives responded fast and viciously, mocking him as yesterday's politician hunting for the next vehicle, and framing Reform as a party that revolves around one personality rather than a serious national plan. At the same time, that kind of instant attack also reveals something. They feel the hit, because you don't throw punches like that unless you think it landed. And here's what makes this move politically explosive. It puts pressure on two fronts at once. It embarrasses the Conservative leadership because a former cabinet-level figure is effectively saying, "I don't see a route back for you." And it boosts Reform because it answers one of the most common critiques of Farage's project. Is this a movement, or is it just Farage? Even the BBC framed Zahawi as one of the most senior Conservatives to take the leap, among a growing list of ex-Tory figures drifting toward Reform.
So, Nadhim Zahawi has defected to Reform UK, a man who failed to uphold the ministerial code. And of course, to save his political career, he is going where the momentum is moving. To Reform, who accept him because they do not care about standards. They care about power, and that is all they are interested in. So they will wash up and claim the refuge of the Tory party as that party continues to slip into irrelevancy and utter destruction. It's just so tiring to see, guys. Location change. Yep, my phone's battery died. It seems that even my phone is sick of the Tories' .2 electric boogaloo. Dear. Anyway, the point of what I'm saying is that ultimately, Reform are just the Tories reheated and much worse. This country needs genuine change, and the Greens are the one to bring it. If you want to go for Reform, that's your choice, but you are just getting the Tories 2.0, and frankly, I think we have all had more than enough of them.
Now, why did Zahawi say he's doing it? The public pitch, reported across outlets, is a mix of familiar populist pressure points, the sense that things don't work, anger about taxes, frustration around speech and culture war flashpoints, and a claim that the state has become too powerful and too insulated from voters. The Guardian also reported Zahawi presenting this as a country-first moment, not a career move. But politics isn't just what you say, it's what your past says about you. Zahawi resigned as Conservative Party chair in 2023 amid controversy over his tax affairs, which remains part of the story every time his name returns to the front page. In joining Reform, he essentially argues that settling those issues shouldn't permanently disqualify him from public life, while Reform, for its part, appears happy to turn the page and use his profile as proof they can recruit heavyweight names. The Independent and the BBC both include this context as a key part of the reaction and scrutiny. Then there's the awkward history between Zahawi and Farage. In the past, Zahawi attacked Farage's politics, and now he's effectively saying the opposite, that he trusts Farage's leadership and doesn't accept the charge that Farage is hostile to people like him. That reversal is the kind of thing voters notice because it raises a credibility test. Did Farage change? Did Zahawi change? Or did the incentives change? And if you want the sharpest pressure point, it might be this: Reform's relationship with vaccine skepticism and conspiracy-friendly voices. The Independent reports the pair swatting away questions about reform, previously giving a platform to claims linking COVID vaccines to King Charles III's cancer, Farage leaning on a free speech, not party policy defence, and Zahawi reacting angrily to the question. That matters because Zahawi's own public identity is tied to the vaccine rollout, while parts of reform's ecosystem have flirted with messaging that undermines it. That's not a footnote, that's a potential fault line. So, zoom out with me. What does this actually signal? One possibility. Reform is trying to become a credible governing force, and it needs experienced figures with cabinet-level recognition to reassure voters who like the anger but fear the chaos. Another possibility. This is a coalition of convenience, big personalities with big grievances clustering under the banner that currently has momentum without resolving the contradictions underneath. And another possibility, the Conservative Party's internal confidence is cracking and defections are becoming a way for ambitious or simply restless figures to stay relevant as the political map shifts. Here's the question I want you to sit with. If reform can keep attracting recognisable Conservative names, does it become the new home of the right? Or does it just become a louder version of the same old political class it claims to oppose? Because Zahawi's move isn't just about Zahawi, it's a stress test for reform, for the Conservatives, and for voters who are deciding whether they want continuity, rupture, or something in between. So, tell me this, is this the moment reform starts looking like a government in waiting, or is it just a headline that fades the minute the next scandal hits?
I've been very lucky. I've self-made. I have done really well by investing in the United Kingdom. And then, of course, my wife now continues to invest in the United Kingdom directly in UK companies, back to Margaret Hodges' question. And we've grown our investment here. That's, I think, a good thing, and it should be celebrated. I'm the beneficiary of the British dream, but I am wealthy. You're absolutely right.
Can you tell us how wealthy you are?
Well, I don't think it's right to sort of go into numbers because I will probably get it wrong.
Until his demise over his tax affairs, Nadhim Zahawi's career was a classic rags-to-riches story. From child refugee who spoke no English to multimillionaire businessman and senior cabinet minister. But his wealth has proved to be his undoing. Born in 1967, Mr. Zahawi and his family fled Saddam Hussein's regime in Iraq.
Well, I think this country has given me everything. I have lived the British dream. I came here at the age of 11, couldn't speak a word of English, head at the back of the class, okay, and of course very quickly learned to read and speak the language, but actually think in the language, dream in the language. And I want to deliver the opportunity for every child in our country, every family.
In 2000, he founded the polling company YouGov with the help of his father. And it was his father's shares that landed him in the tax dispute that has cost him his job.
Nadhim Zahawi. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Elected MP for Stratford-on-Avon in 2010 as the UK's first Kurdish Iraqi MP, Mr. Zahawi soon made his mark in the Commons.
And cut through the bureaucracy and nonsense and fly the flag of England over Downing Street for the duration of the World Cup. For the MA debate today, historically they have been vexed about how to pay for the...
But he hit the wrong note a year later when his musical tie went off during his own speech.
Debate. Oop, I apologise.
As a junior minister, in 2018 Mr. Zahawi survived controversy over attending a men-only President's Club dinner.
Mr. Zahawi, could you give us a comment on why you attended the dinner?
Where hostesses suffered sexual harassment.
Young ladies, hostesses, that came round each table, which made me feel incredibly uncomfortable, which is why I left the dinner.
But it was as vaccines minister during the COVID pandemic that Mr. Zahawi made his name.
And welcome to Downing Street for today's coronavirus briefing.
And emerged as a Tory rising star.
And today, I can confirm we've reached the milestone of 3 in 5 of all adults getting the protection of a second dose.
His impressive media performances earned him promotion to Boris Johnson's cabinet as Education Secretary. Then, when Rishi Sunak abruptly quit as Chancellor in July last year, he was handed the Treasury. But only 2 days after his appointment, he called for Mr Johnson to resign. When Mr Johnson quit, Mr Zahawi stood for the Tory leadership.
Good evening, Birmingham. What a great privilege it is for me to be here tonight on home turf.
2 candidates will be eliminated, Jeremy Hunt and Nadhim Zahawi.
But he dropped out early, along with Jeremy Hunt, who's now Chancellor. It was during that contest that questions were first raised about Mr Zahawi's tax affairs. But he came out fighting.
Clearly being smeared, I was being told that the Serious Fraud Office, that the National Crime Agency, that HMRC are looking into me. I'm not aware of this. I've always declared my taxes. I paid my taxes in the UK. I will answer any questions HMRC has of me.
Have you been honest about your tax affairs, Mr Zahawi?
But after spells as Cabinet Office Minister under Liz Truss and Tory Chairman under Mr Sunak, he now says he made a careless and not deliberate error in his tax affairs.
I think the significance is that he had a lot of tax that he should have paid and he didn't pay it. He's never explained why. And instead of explaining, he resorts to lawyers, he resorts to denials, while secretly behind the scenes sending accountants to negotiate a deal with HMRC. That's not something a senior politician should be doing.
Mr Zahawi has paid the price for what Labour has called a murky affair. But a politician who began his life under the tyranny of Saddam Hussein will regard his demise as a setback and not the end of his political career.